Last lecture we have seen the problem z plus 1 upon z is equal to 2. Now instead of sharing this screen, I would just like to show you the GeoGebra screen where geometrically it happens, but somehow I was not able to still decode why it is happening. Now this is one circle which I have drawn. Can you see GeoGebra?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So this circle and distance a dash e is 1, say for example, a dash f is also 1, then k is also a dash k is also 1. So with k as a center and ae, that is root 2 as a radius, when I draw this circle, if I take any point on this circle I, then its reflection is this ray and it intersects the circle at point z. Okay, and then if we complete the parallelogram, a dash I, a dash z, these are supposed to vectors, and if we complete the parallelogram, then we end up getting the summation vector, which is going to be this. Okay, so that is going to be L. Now how far is L from origin? It is a dash b. So I have drawn a circle which is of that radius 2 units. That is what we have been given. Z1 plus 1 upon z is 2. So now if I move this point I, we will observe the locus of L. If I move this I, we will observe the locus of L. And the locus of L is a circle. Can you see that? And when this I will be on y-axis, so it is 1 plus root 2, this point, and this point is 1 minus root 2 radii, I mean this point. So 1 plus or minus root 2 are the intersections of this circle, of this small circle with y-axis. Therefore distance a1, a dash from this point is also 2. So as you move this L, the parallelogram gets completed. Move. Why is it not moving? Sorry. Move up. Okay, so when I am moving I, L continues to follow the locus circle. See this. See. It is following because it is reflection in x-axis, that suddenly that reflection disappears. And you see this side also it is happening. So as far as this product of these two distances is concerned, a dash I into a dash j, it is going to be equal to 1 because PAPB is equal to PCPD. A dash E into a dash F is equal to a dash I into a dash j. So if this distance is small r, then this distance is 1 upon r. That is what is proved. But every time we complete the parallelogram, why the diagonal continues to remain 2 is something to be decoded using geometry. That is what, I mean, using algebra we have already done. But if we could do it using geometry, it is going to be an elegant solution for this problem. So I spent good amount of time, but I could not decode. Okay, so that is the open. Why is it blur? Okay, so you can also spend time on that and figure out whether you can decode it and tell me later on so that we can have a separate recording of that solution. I remember I had done it about 8-9 years before, but now I am not able to do it. Anyway, okay, so now continuing with this loci. अरे अजून ब्लर होते इमेज क्लियर नहीं है
सर तुमचा आउट ऑफ फोकस गेलाय कॅमेरा.
कॅमेरा असं खरं खरं करत नाही तो, चांगला कॅमेरा आहे, नीट वागत नाही. हा आला.
हो सर झालं.
हो सर.
Okay, so now let me give you, now let me share with you Microsoft whiteboard and give you yet another problem. Suppose I have two complex numbers, one here, another here. I think my percentage is very high. Okay. I call this complex number as, say, 2 plus I, and this as minus 1 plus 3I, something like that. Okay. And now I want all those z's. Find all z's such that, let us call this as A1, this is A2, point A2, such that capital A is the name of point. I need to give name of the complex number. Okay. So let us call this as Z1. This is Z2. Find all z's in this plane such that argument of Z1 minus Z upon Z2 minus Z is equal to pi by 6. Okay, that is the question. Find all z's in this Argand plane such that argument of Z1 minus Z upon Z2 minus Z is pi by 6. Can someone tell me what is this locus?
Sir, part of a circle.
Circle.
Is it a circle?
Circle. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Part.
It is not correct answer. It is not circle. It is arc of a circle, and that too arc without endpoints. So Z minus Z2 when rotated becomes Z minus Z1, and you really need this arc, so that if you have Z anywhere, this is 30 degree. Is that right? That is what we mean. And we will have big hollow circles here because you cannot afford to have these 2 points as part of locus. So geometrically it is part of circle. Will this part of the circle also be the locus?
No, sir.
No.
No, because if Z is sitting here, then Z minus Z2, that is this vector, when rotated anti-clockwise becomes this vector, and angle is not this, I mean if this is 30, this is 100. and it is anti-clockwise, so 360 minus 150. So it is 210-degree rotation that you are getting, and it is not equal to 210 degree. So this part of the arc of the circle is absent, and two endpoints are also absent, because if you go and coincide this z with one of the endpoints, then you will not be able to measure the angle. Okay, and therefore that is what is your locus. So without roaming around and checking what the answers are, maybe let us first find center and radius of arc of a circle given z1, z2 and argument of z1 minus z upon z2 minus z is equal to alpha. So if these three things are given, z1 is given, z2 is given, and the argument is given, you will end up getting an arc of a circle. Find the center and radius, of course, in terms of z1, z2 and alpha. Give you 6 minutes. Okay, so let us do it together. There are two ways of getting it. Let me check by which way I get first. Suppose I have a circle and of course I am not considering circle, but this is z1, z2, set m. Let complex number of m be small m. Now, if I join this center with z1 and z2, then mz2 becomes mz1, correct? And the complex number is going to be, what is going to be the complex number of this rotation?
12.
1,2.
2 alpha. Is that okay? This means cos 2 alpha plus I sin 2 alpha. This implies z1 minus m upon z2 minus m is equal to cis 2 alpha, which implies z1 minus m is equal to z2 cis 2 alpha minus m cis 2 alpha. And we are interested in m, therefore m inside bracket 1 minus cis alpha is equal to z1 minus z2 cis alpha 2 alpha. Therefore m is equal to z1 minus z2 cis 2 alpha upon 1 minus cis 2 alpha. Okay, but then this is not in the form what I was trying to tell you, but this is correct. I mean, this is correct answer. But there is, I think, one more way of getting it. This point is going to be Z1 plus Z2 upon 2, midpoint. This is 90 degree. Is that correct? And this angle is going to be alpha. Let us say now, let us call this point K. So Km, when rotated to become KZ2, Km when rotated to become KZ2, it is KZ2 divided by KZM is absolute value of KZ2 upon absolute value of Km. That is the magnitude of your complex number times I. Yes or no? Km rotated anti-clockwise to become Kz2. Km becomes Kz2. And of course, right now, unfortunately, they are looking same. This is congruent to this, but it need not be, and it is not going to be. So, if this angle is alpha, then this upon this is tan alpha. I tan alpha. Therefore, Z2 minus Z1 plus Z2 by 2 divided by M minus Z1 plus Z2 divided by 2 is equal to I tan alpha. Right? Now we are supposed to
So,
figure out.
won't the I get cancelled?
Huh?
Won't the I get cancelled?
Why? Why will I get cancelled?
Because I is in the both places.
Which I you want to cancel? This I with this?
Yes.
No, I mean we are giving a meaning to this because we know alpha. We want to bring alpha in picture. We are not interested in KZ2 and KM. This is not.
Sir, instead of this, can't you consider the line, the distance between Z1 and Z2 as the absolute value of Z1 minus Z2, and then use trigonometric cosine rule?
What is R?
We can get R
We
from
can, say we can use R as a variable, and distance between Z1 and Z2 is known,
yes.
so we can use cosine rule.
But then it is using trigonometry, na?
We can actually use sine rule also.
Using trigonometry, you mean to say you want to find out? Yes, you can find out. We are developing a formula using complex numbers. Okay, correct? I mean, only one unknown, which is R, because you know the angle, you know distance between them. Correct? That is correct approach. So now Z, okay, let us simplify. Z2 minus Z2 by 2 is Z2 by 2 minus Z1 by 2 is equal to Mi tan alpha minus Z1 plus Z2 by 2 times I tan alpha. Correct? Therefore, center M is equal to, let us put everything to the other side. Z1 plus Z2 by 2, that is the constant term, plus Z2 minus Z1 by 2 into cot alpha times I. नाही काय येणार ते 1 upon I, na? Upon I, cot alpha times cot alpha divided by I. And therefore, if we want to have this I in the numerator, we can have it by doing Z1 plus Z2 upon 2 minus. Is that correct? Or we can keep it plus
Take the minus inside the bracket.
Z2 upon 2 I cot alpha. Is that fine? This is the same, and this is this and this is same. There is no difference between these two, because if you clear this denominator, multiplying it with some rationalizing factor, etc., you can get this. And we have found it out in two different ways, and both these answers are correct. And maybe it is wise to remember one of them. Now let us find out the radius. Radius is going to be equal to, how do we find out radius? We know this distance k, z2, kz2, kz2 upon r is equal to sin alpha. Therefore, r is equal to kz2 upon sin alpha. Kz2 is, just now we have found out, kz2 was z2 minus z1 by 2. So absolute value. z1 minus z2 by 2 cosec, no, 2 sin alpha. This is the radius. Z1 minus Z2 absolute value times cosec alpha into half. So this is something which can be remembered. And now if you put Z1, Z2 and alpha in these two formulae, you will get the answer for the earlier question. Yes. समझ लें?
Can you please explain the last step again?
Last step, radius.
Yes, sir.
Now radius I want to find out. MZ2 is a radius here. KZ2, I know it is Z1, Z2 because it is, this is Z1, Z2 distance. Half of Z1 minus Z2 is going to be distance KZ2. We have done this. KZ2 is equal to Z2 minus Z1 plus Z2 by 2, which is Z2 by 2 minus Z1 by 2. Its absolute value, it is eventually the distance between those two complex numbers. So it is positive. So Z1 minus Z2 by 2 is that part, KZ2, divided by R is sin alpha trigonometry. Therefore, R is equal to KZ2 upon sin alpha. KZ2 is Z1 minus Z2 by 2. Sin alpha in the denominator is cosec alpha in the numerator.
Yes, sir.
Sir, sir,
Yes.
sir, could you please explain the step KZ2 upon KM is equal?
KZ2 upon Km is equal to KZ2 upon Km is equal to. Now, see, this is a rotator, na? KZ2 upon Km. KZ2 upon Km, and rotator does two things. Either it changes the length of the vector, or and it changes the angle. Correct? So there will be always, rotator will have always two parts. Rotator will have always two parts, R and theta. Okay. So what is the R for this? R for this rotator? We want KZ2 to be generated. KZ2 to be generated. Now this is a bad diagram. Maybe I can draw another diagram here where I take these 2 points as Z1, Z2, and this angle is almost about 60 degree. Okay. So now if I join this, then it becomes, they are not equal. K Z2 is not equal to Km, and therefore are rotating, there will be shrinkage. Denominator is bigger and numerator is smaller. Therefore, you have to have this r which will be less than 1. You need to take care of that. So I have found out value of r as tan alpha, because exactly this upon this. That is what we want. Length of kz2 upon length of km. समझते हैं?
Yes, sir.
This is r part of it, and this is theta part of it actually. Theta part of it is 1 comma pi by 2. 1 comma pi by 2. So if 1 comma pi by 2 is multiplied by r, then it r comma pi by 2.
ते cos pi by 2 नसल्यामुळेच असं होतं.
Huh?
Cos pi by 2 is equal to 0, त्यामुळे ती टर्म जाते ना.
Oh, बरोबर.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, समजलं ना? शाबास. Now I will have to give you another. Okay, so now this is arc. Almost we have done lot, maybe. Okay. Through that, next problem. Z1 plus absolute value of Z1 plus Z2 is always going to be less than. And equality we will find out. So we will try to prove it a strict inequality, and we will keep watch on equality later on. Absolute value of Z1 plus absolute value of U. So this is triangle inequality. Sum of two sides is always greater than the third. So I give you 10 minutes to write the proof of this. नाही ठीक आहे, ते वाचता येतच नाहीये. मी जनरल हो म्हणतोय, आपलं वाचता येतच नाहीये. So if we start with board कडे लक्ष द्या प्रत्येकाने, and which property is used, you need to identify and understand. Z1 plus Z2, consider Z1 plus Z2 bracket square, which is equal to Z1 plus Z2 into Z1 plus Z2 bar, which is equal to Z1 plus Z2 into Z1 bar plus Z2 bar, which is equal to Z1 bar plus Z2 bar, Z2 bar plus Z1 bar Z2. which is equal to mod z1 square plus mod z2 square plus z1 z2 bar plus z1 z2 bar bar, which is equal to z1 square plus mod z2 square plus 2 times real part of z1 z2 bar. Okay, now from here to here, have you all understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
From here to here, have you all understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
सर लास्ट स्टेप एक्सप्लेन करू शकतो का
हाँ
लास्ट स्टेप मधलं लास्ट टर्म कशी आहे
हाँ आता x plus iy plus x minus iy. This is z1 plus z1 bar is equal to 2x. And what was x? Real part of z1. हो का नाही? मग आपला इथे
Yes, sir.
कोणता आहे? This is alpha and this is alpha bar. Therefore, it is 2 times real part of alpha. Alpha is z1 z2 bar. Now, first time I introduce inequality here because real part of x plus iy, real part of x plus iy is going to be definitely less than or equal to what? Absolute value of x plus iy. What is absolute value of x plus iy? Radical x square plus y square. And what is real part of x plus iy? X. So is x less than or equal to radical x square plus y square? Yes.
Yes.
Therefore, real part of any complex number is less than or equal to, I am writing it just dotted, we will have to go back to equality once again, equal to mod z1 square plus mod z2 square plus 2 times mod of z2 bar. Is that correct? Now less than it, so now this will be equal to absolute value of z1 square plus z2 square plus 2 times mod z1 into mod z2 bar, which is equal to mod z1 square plus mod z2 square plus 2 times mod z1 into mod z2, because z2 bar, mod z2 bar and mod z1 bar, they are one and the same, which is equal to mod z1 plus mod z2 bracket square. This implies, because every number is positive number here, this implies mod z1 plus z2 is less than or equal to mod z1 plus mod z2. Triangle inequality. So what all properties are used here? Mod z square is equal to zz bar. That is the first property we have used. Second property, z1 plus z2 bar is equal to z1 bar plus z2 bar. Second property. Then this is very important from here to here. z1 is equal to z1 bar bar. Then z plus z bar is equal to 2 times real part of z. That is used here. Real part of z is less than or equal to absolute value of z. That is used here. Z1, Z2 absolute value is equal to absolute value of Z1 into absolute value of Z2. True. All these are properties of complex numbers which we have proved somewhere or the other, or they are very easy to prove. Okay. Then absolute value of Z1 is equal to absolute value of Z1 bar. These many properties we have used. Okay. So now what we need to consider is
सर
बोलो
सर एक डाऊट होता सर AMGM इनइक्वालिटी फेल होती का कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर साठी
हाँ
AMGM इनइक्वालिटी
AMGM inequality is for positive real numbers. त्यामुळे निगेटिव्ह रिअल नंबर्स ना सुद्धा फेल होणार नाही. कॉम्प्लेक्स तर दूरची गोष्ट आहे. लक्षात आलं का?
हो सर
AMGM inequality will fail for couple of negative numbers are introduced in the set of those numbers, then it will fail.
सर पण कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर्स साठी इनइक्वालिटीज डिफाईन नसते ना, कारण की ते ऑर्डरिंग प्रॉपर्टीज फॉलो नाही करत.
बरोबर. Ordering properties are not there, therefore two complex numbers, nobody is greater, nobody is smaller. That is correct.
So, but then we're comparing modulus of each number, right?
यस सर
So it becomes positive real number.
Now here these are the inequality. This is the inequality which we did right now is real number inequality, because the statement of the problem here is absolute value of this, that is real number, is going to be less than absolute value of this plus absolute value of this. So this is actually the real number result, not this inequality has nothing to do with complex numbers. We are not writing Z1 is less than Z2 anywhere. Whatever comparison or inequality is involved in complex numbers, it is essentially for the real part of that complex number, real numbers of complex numbers. Maybe it is a distance, maybe it is a real part of complex number, whatever. Because you just cannot have inequalities in case of complex numbers. Now, when is going to be the equality? Now, in AMGM inequality, we say that both of them are equal. What do we do here? What here? When will they be equal? When will they be equal?
Both of them equal to 0.
Huh?
Sir, anyone is equal to 0.
Anyone is equal to 0, they will become equal. Okay. Both of them are 0, they will become equal. Okay.
x1 y2 equal to x2 y1.
The arguments
Don't discuss easy cases.
Arguments will be same.
कोलिनियर असायला पाहिजे.
Think about it before talking. Hello. कोण बोलतंय? हो बरं. तर माझं चालू आहे आता लेक्चर 10 9 वाजेपर्यंत. उद्या करता येईल का रात्रीच, म्हणजे अर्जंट आहे का? उद्या संध्याकाळी 5 ते 6. ठीक आहे. ओके. What I was saying, equality. So easy cases you have said, Z1 is 0, then Z2 is equal to Z2. Both of them are 0, that means 0 is equal to 0. What is
तर आर्ग्युमेंट सेम असेल म्हणून कोलिनियर असायला पाहिजे.
कोलिनियर असते.
So that is what I want you to think and tell. If both of them are not 0, Z1 and Z2, they are complex numbers, then when will equality take place? Now, it is important to understand the geometry Z1 and Z2. We are saying that this is Z2 and therefore Z1 plus Z2 is somewhere here, right? Now, of course, Z1 plus Z2, length of this vector will be smaller than these two the moment there is a triangle. But if we don't want the triangle to be there, then we have two cases, Z1 and Z2. Okay, so what will be Z1 plus Z2? You put that vector over here, Z2, this distance to Z1, Z2, which is okay. So this is one case where we are okay with. What is the other case? Other case
Opposite.
is,
Difference between the arguments is
other
1.
case is Z1. I mean, in geometry we say that they should be collinear so that the triangle gets degenerated. But here, if you have a collinear vector but Z2 is this side, this is Z2 and this is Z1, then Z1 plus Z2 becomes this, right? But then Z1, actually this is not Z1 plus Z2, but it is Z1 minus Z2. If you look at the complex numbers and if you visualize them as what? Vectors, then this distance is geometrically going to be equal to Z1 plus Z2, provided this plus this is done. But when you are adding two complex numbers, you are supposed to make a parallelogram like this, and therefore practically from this Z1 you are going to subtract this much Z2. From the terminal point of Z1 you draw Z2, and therefore whatever is left is Z1 plus Z2 geometrically as far as complex number is concerned. Therefore this fails. So Z1 is equal to K times Z2, where K is positive real number. Understand this. 0 is not acceptable and negative real number is also not acceptable, because you want argument to be 0, and you don't want argument to be pi. If argument is pi, you are multiplying by negative number. You are stretching. See, when you are multiplying by k, how can you visualize this k in complex numbers? If k is positive, that means you are stretching vector Z2 to become Z1, and therefore the angle between Z1 and Z2 is 0. However, if k is negative, then you are compressing. No. Z1 is minus Z2 is Z1, or this is Z2 and this is Z1. So you multiply this by minus 2. So you are actually changing the direction of that. So this is not acceptable. So you have to remember, in complex number, whenever we have this triangle inequality, the constant multiple must be positive. Make it a note. Okay. नेक्स्ट समजलं इथपर्यंत सगळ्यांना? In trigonometry, I think we have defined cross ratio. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Ratio of ratio is cross ratio. So if I say P1, P4, comma, P2, P3 like this, then what is cross ratio? This cross ratio we had defined earlier. It is P1, P2 upon P2, P4 divided by P1, P3 upon P3, P4, which is P1, P2 upon P2, P4 in 3, P4 upon P1, P3. Right? Yes or no? Now, if P1 has got complex number Z1 and P2 has 2, yes or no? Okay, so this is going to be the cross ratio in terms of complex numbers. Theorem. Four points. P1, P2, P3, P4 are concyclic if and only if the cross ratio if and only if cross ratio of these points is a real number. So if this ratio eventually is real number, then these P1, P2, P3, P4 are concyclic, both ways. If concyclic, then cross ratio is real number. If cross ratio is real number, then concyclic. I give you 10 minutes. Both ways or not? Number one.
Yes.
Okay, so let us do it from geometry to algebra first, and then come back from algebra to geometry. So this is geometry, LHS, and this is algebra. Okay, so move. Suppose we have 4 points which are concyclic. And suppose we consider this cross ratio, whatever we have written. Okay. So, if you look at this ratio, which is correspondingly this ratio, and this ratio is this. So, let us write the cross ratio in the form Z2 minus Z1 upon Z2 minus Z4. into Z3 minus Z4 upon Z3 minus Z1. So I have changed signs of two ratios, this and this. Therefore, it is same. So cross ratio is equal to this. So now I can visualize this as a rotator. Okay. So what is this rotator doing? It is rotating P4, P2. It is rotating P4, P2. To become P1, P2. Okay. I mean, I should write all of them. Z1 minus Z2, Z4 minus Z2 into Z4 minus Z3 upon Z1 minus Z3. Okay. So now Z1 minus Z2 is P2 Z1, P2 P1. So this is the vector which I am talking about as far as this numerator is concerned. And P2 P4, this is the vector that I am talking about as far as denominator is concerned. And we see that it is a anti-clockwise rotation. Let us call that angle alpha. Okay. And we are really not worried about magnitudes, because if we show that the total argument of this cross ratio is either 0 or pi, that means it is real number. Do you understand? Therefore, we will not get into the, if we want to write, we can write that argument, say R1. R1 is the length of the rotator vector here, but the argument is going to be, say, alpha. And what is the argument of this? It is Z3, Z4. Okay, so P3, P4, P3, P4, P3, P4 is in the numerator, and P3, P1 is in the denominator. P3, P1 becomes P3, P4. So this is alpha. This is also alpha. Because these 4 points are concyclic, we know that this is alpha and this is alpha. Therefore, what are we getting?
Sir, minus alpha, right?
P3, P1 becomes P3, P4, that is anti-clockwise, and P2, P4, P2, P4 becomes P2, P1 is clockwise here. Okay, so mistake. This is mistake. This is clockwise alpha. This is clockwise alpha. And this is anti-clockwise alpha. And therefore, if we call this as alpha, then this is minus alpha, that becomes 0, hence real number. Okay. Now what I was discussing is P3 and P4 are on the same side, or maybe P1 and P4 are on the same side of line P2, P3. So case 2, make a circle. Okay, let me make it in black only. And we have P2 here, P3 here, P4 here, P1 here. Now P1 and P4 are in opposite. So here the P2, P4 was becoming P2, P1. So P2, P4 is becoming P2 P1, and let this angle be in this direction. Alpha. Then here P3 P1 was becoming P3 P4. P3 P1 is becoming P3 P4, and this angle is going to be theta, anti-clockwise. This is also anti. So first ratio is giving me angle alpha, second ratio is giving me angle theta, but they add up to pi because they are concyclic, even P2. So here the addition is 0, here the addition is pi, and therefore real number. Okay, and now there is no need to do it in the opposite direction. If this is real number which is equal to 0, then this and this will have opposite sign, alpha alpha, and you can go back and say either they are like this, or if they add up to pi, then they are like this, and hence theorem proved. Ask me difficulty, doubt if you have not understood any step.
सर ते जे अल्फा मायनस अल्फा केलं ते आर्ग्युमेंट झालेत ना फक्त.
Oh, yes, argument आहे.
ओके सर.
सर सेकंड केस मध्ये फक्त आपण लेबलिंग वेगळं केलं म्हणजे
हा?
वेगळं काय करायचं म्हणजे
सेकंड
सेकंड
केस
केस मध्ये आपण फक्त लेबलिंग वेगळं केलं ना पॉइंटचं आपण.
हा, म्हणून म्हणजे either P1 P2 P3 P4 in clockwise direction or P1 P3 P4 P2 in clockwise direction. These are the two different orientations that you can have of those 4 points. Now if you create more permutations of P1 P2 P3 P4, then either that permutation will belong to this or will belong to this. There are only 2 cases. Every time, no matter what cross ratio you write here, what sequence, if those 4 points are concyclic, you will end up getting real number. If your cross ratio is a real number, then the points are concyclic. This is a very strong result because in geometry, to prove cyclicity of 4 points, we have different theorems. Inscribed angles are equal, opposite angles add up to 90 degree, PAPB is equal to PCPD, tangent secant theorem, so many different ways. Exterior angle is equal to remote opposite interior angle, so many different ways of doing concyclicity in geometry. Using 2D geometry, you can create a equation of circle and find out whether they are concyclic or not. Now this is complex number way of checking 4 points concyclic.
सर ते अल्फा आणि अल्फा कशा आल्या एकदा परत सांगता का?
कोणतं?
केस 1 मध्ये अल्फा आणि अल्फा कसे आले एकदा परत सांगता का?
हे दोन्ही अल्फा कसे आले नाही कळलं. हा डिनॉमिनेटर वेक्टर कोण आहे? P2 P4 becomes P2 P1. बघा, P2 P4 becomes P2 P1 अल्फा. क्लॉकवाइज डायरेक्शन मध्ये इथे अल्फा म्हटलं. हा कोण आहे? P3 P1 becomes P3 P4. P3 P1 becomes P3 P4. Anti-clockwise alpha. Because these 4 points are concyclic, alpha is going to be alpha. Numerical values are same, directions are different, therefore they add up to 0. And if argument is 0 or pi, then it is a real number. If argument is or pi, then it is a real number. समझते? Okay, so now I'm stopping the share.
सर
बोला.
एकदा त्या आदल्या समचं तुम्ही रिअल पार्ट इज लेस दॅन इक्वल टू मॉड्युलो हे दाखवू शकता का एकदा?
काय रिअल पार्ट इज म्हणजे तुला स्क्रीनवर पाहिजे का बघायचंय का?
हो सर. हा सर, एक मिनिट. हा सर, थँक्यू सर.
ओके. सो हा बोला सानिया, काय विचारायचंय?
Z1 प्लस Z2 ची इक्वालिटी दाखवली होती तुम्ही, तेव्हा जेव्हा ऑपोजिट डिरेक्शन तेव्हा तुम्ही म्हटलात की ते म्हणजे लेंथ कमी होते म्हणून आपण कन्सिडर करत नाही. पण आपण तसे मॅग्निट्यूड धरतो तर Z1 आणि Z2 चा मॅग्निट्यूड ऍड केला तर इक्वल
Z1 आणि Z2 चा मॅग्निट्यूड जर ऍड केला तर Z1 प्लस Z2 चा मॅग्निट्यूड मिळाला पाहिजे तर इक्वॅलिटी.
सर तर मिळेलच ना ऑपोजिट असलं तर.
नाही, कसं मिळणार? अपोजिट असेल तर कसं मिळणार? अपोजिट असेल तर Z1 प्लस Z2 छोटा होणार ना.
सर आपण मॅग्निट्यूड ऑफ Z1 प्लस मॅग्निट्यूड ऑफ Z2 घेतो ना.
हो, तेच म्हणतोय मी. फॉर एक्झाम्पल आपण इथून बघा, इथून आपण गेलो कोल्हापूरला 250 किलोमीटर्स आणि कोल्हापूरहून आलो साताऱ्याला 100 किलोमीटर्स. तर आपण टोटल किती डिस्टन्स ट्रॅव्हल केलं? 250 प्लस 100 350 एवढं डिस्टन्स ट्रॅव्हल केलं. पण आपल्यामध्ये जॉमेट्रिक डिस्टन्स किती राहिले शिल्लक स्टार्ट पॉइंट आणि एंड पॉइंटला? तर 250 मायनस 100 झालं ना डायरेक्शन चेंज केल्यामुळे. त्यामुळे नेट डिस्टन्स बिटवीन पुणे आणि सातारा इज 150 राहिलं. हेच जर मी कोल्हापूरवरून 100 किलोमीटर बेळगावला गेलो असतो पुढे सरळ, तर 100 किती झालं असतं मग? 250 प्लस 100 350 झालं असतं. कळतंय का? वेक्टर एडिशन Z1 प्लस Z2 इज अ वेक्टर एडिशन ऑफ कॉम्प्लेक्स नंबर्स. त्यामुळे इफ युअर Z2 इज इन अपोजिट डायरेक्शन, so total new complex number which will be generated will have much smaller magnitude compared to Z1 plus Z2. विचार कर, नाही समजलं तर पुढच्या लेक्चरला आठवण कर, परत एकदा सांग.
कळलं.
ओके, एंडिंग द मीटिंग. थँक यू.